Whoa, Danny.
What's up?
When did that Big Hero 6 poster come in?
Dude, I didn't think you'd be able to see it. So we had all these. We just moved into this house not that long ago, and we had all this artwork, dude. It's been living in a closet forever. And we're like, where are we going to hang this stuff up? And if I was to turn my laptop around, we're basically in my office right now, and there's stuff everywhere. The walls are covered in shit. So there's no room. But this thing, like, you can't just have a Big Hero 6 poster, like, in your living room. It looks kind of weird. So we had to find a space for it. So it's kind of tucked up in the corner. You can't see it on my phone, but you can see it on the wider laptop.
I just see Baymax and Fred at the bottom. That's it.
I'll take you guys on, like, a virtual tour here, I guess, in a little bit. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Critic and the Common Man. As you could see by the thumbnail today, we are very, very excited for the second time in our podcast history. We have guests joining us today. Today, we have the brilliant Matthew and Henry from the Marvelous Cinema podcast. You guys can find them on Instagram. You can find them wherever you listen to your podcasts. They have been one of our favorite pages on Instagram to interact with for a long time. Some incredible reviews, some great insight into some movies, and just some funny guys. Go listen to them on Spotify. Matthew and Henry, thank you guys for joining us. Tell the people a little bit about what you guys do, who you are, and where you're from.
Oh, wow. I'm going to get nervous now. The truth has arrived.
That's right.
There's a lot of things there.
I know. So, yeah, we're Matthew and Henry, and we started our... Well, actually, we've been doing the podcast for longer than we've been doing the Instagram. It's just I finally decided to pull my finger out and decide to actually use the Instagram. So it's just... The idea is that we just wanted to have a safe, happy place to talk about films.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's getting rare that there's that many happy places to talk about films.
Yeah, we love it. We I'll tell you, if we could just do YouTube or just do like Spotify or something and not have to deal with the social media, we probably would. It's kind of one of those necessary. It's like a necessary evil. Like, we've got people that are asking us to go on Twitter and these different Facebook page, and it's like, man, it's just a lot to manage. It is a bit of a pain, but. That's awesome. So where can we find you guys? If we want to listen to some of your podcasts, where can the people find you guys?
So we're on Spotify, iTunes, I think, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud.
Can we have your exact addresses, please?
We need your date of birth, mother's maiden name, the following. That's perfect. Yeah. So what we thought we'd do here, guys, is Matt and Henry have kind of done this on their channel a little bit already, but we just wanted to have some guests on to talk about kind of the whirlwind that 2020 was and what we have to hopefully look forward to in 2021. Now, obviously, I hope that this whole video doesn't turn into a jinx. We've got a pretty giant list of videos that are supposed to, knock on wood, supposed to come out in 2021. Of course, take everything with a small grain of salt. Hopefully these dates hold up, but of course, we are still sort of on a holding pattern until we get some of these movies in theaters or on HBO Max or Disney Plus or whatever, it's still a little bit of, we're all holding our breath. So I'm going to go through a little bit of a list here, guys. I've got a pretty substantial list put together, and for the viewers or anybody just listening, some of the things that we are supposedly having to look forward to here in 2021, and I figured we'd go through them. I want you guys to tell us about what you're excited about. Chris, what are you excited about? What are we maybe not so excited about, and maybe we can jump into it. So 2021, some of the big movies that are coming out, and this is pretty impressive. Obviously, 2020 was such a bust for movies. Things just flipped upside down, and a lot of movies that we were supposed to get last year have now been slated for a release this year. So some of those bigger titles being, we've got a Coming to America sequel, Raya and the Last Dragon from Disney, The King's Man, Godzilla vs. Kong, No Time to Die, Peter Rabbit 2. I know you boys are excited about that one. That's an England favorite. Mortal Kombat, A Quiet Place Part 2. For the kids, we got SpongeBob, a new Tom and Jerry, a new Hotel Transylvania, another Boss Baby, another Rugrats. We've got Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, Spiral, which I believe is a kind of new take on the Saw series, Fast 9, The Conjuring, Ghostbusters Afterlife, In the Heights, Minions: The Rise of Gru, Top Gun: Maverick, The Forever Purge, as if we needed another Purge,
The Forever
Venom,
Purge.
Space Jam 2, Uncharted, Old, new M. Night Shyamalan film. Suicide Squad, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I don't know if you guys ever saw The Hitman's Bodyguard, but we've got a complex, convoluted sequel coming to that. Death on the Nile, Morbius, Mission Impossible 7, West Side Story, which is going to be a Spielberg film, The Matrix 4, apparently, Sing 2, Sherlock Holmes 3, Dune. Wow, let's see. From Marvel, we've got Black Widow coming out. We've got WandaVision already out on Disney+. Eternals, potential Spider-Man sequel sometime in late 2021. We'll see if that holds up as far as the date. We've got The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've got Hawkeye. We've got Loki. We've got the Book of Boba Fett. We've got potentially a Kenobi series coming out in 2021. That remains to be seen. That's still TBD. We've got the Bad Batch, potentially an Ahsoka series coming out in 2021 as well. Yep, maybe early 2022. We'll see. Again, and I know this list is intensive, but again, going into Disney now, we've got a Cruella movie coming out. We've got from Pixar, we've got Luca, I believe it's pronounced. Again, Raya and the Last Dragon, Jungle Cruise, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. My goodness. And then a bunch of TV flicks as well. We've got a new Bel Air series coming out, The Book of Boba Fett again, Clarice, which is going to be sort of a Hannibal Lecter, I think it's his daughter or something like that, TV show. Cowboy Bebop, which I believe is a manga or an anime.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah, man.
I had no idea either.
That's right. Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, which is a Jamie Foxx show. It's going to be about him raising his daughter. A new Dexter for any of the Dexter fans out there. Dexter's getting a revival this year on HBO, so look out for that. I'm almost done, I promise. The Dropout, which is a story about Elizabeth Holmes, who, if you're not familiar, she was the girl who started that Theranos company and is now basically going to prison for fraud. She was supposed to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. That didn't work out. There's going to be a Friends reunion special. Right. We are getting a Gossip Girl reboot. We are getting a Halo from the video game Halo TV series that's supposed to come out late 2021. We're getting a Lord of the Rings TV series, which is supposed to come out late 2021. We've got a John Cena starring in Peacemaker, who I believe is a DC superhero, I think.
Yes, DC.
You guys,
okay. It might be a villain.
Yeah, maybe a villain. There we go. So the Underground Railroad, which will be an Amazon show about the Underground Railroad, looked extremely interesting. You've got a show called Young Rock, which is basically a biopic of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And that is all I got on this list. So it's possible
I want an extensive list, Danny. I want
If it is coming out in 2021, I want to know about it. So
you put our podcast episode to shame with that list, I'm afraid. It's absolutely blown out of the water.
Listen, we do not have time to go into every one of these movies. We'd be here for 3 hours. There is no way. So while that is obviously a vast list, again, take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. A lot of these movies, or at least certainly some of these movies, were actually slated to come out in 2021. Got pushed around a little bit. COVID mania hit, and here we are with a loaded 2020. Sorry, they were supposed to come out in 2020 rather, and here we are now with a loaded 2021.
What year is it?
Right off the bat, without going into anything specific, Henry, Matt, what do you guys think for 2021? Do you think we're going to get these films as they're slated? Do you think we're going to see a lot of these pushed back into 2022? Are you guys optimistic, pessimistic? How do you feel?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we've been doing the podcast longer than we've been on Instagram.
Right.
And we used to do it in a studio as part of our university. And and obviously because of all the lockdown started here, we couldn't do it in the studio anymore because we weren't in Leeds, or I probably shouldn't have said that. But we haven't identified the place, but because no the search. Because we weren't there, we weren't able to do it. But the very last episode we did in the studio was what are we looking forward to in 2020? And then nothing.
Yeah.
All the films we talked about got cancelled. We weren't doing the podcast for about 5 months.
Yeah, so, it all went to a halt.
So yeah, I'm sceptical about a lot of them coming out. I was more confident, like on New Year's Eve, it was all, it's the new year, we can do this.
But now it's kind of new. There's all sorts of new things are happening, and it's all getting worse a bit again. So I'm like half and half personally.
Yeah.
Hopeful,
How
but
are you? Sure. How are you guys doing over there now with the lockdown? Jumping away from movies for just a second. What's the outlook over there in England?
It's kind of just like the same. We're kind of like having a Groundhog Day situation where it just feels like every month or so the prime minister, sorry, will come out and just say something that was, another lockdown. So I'm kind of just used to it by now.
Right.
It's just sort of life. So, but in terms of movies, I think it's just, I want to be optimistic, but I'm kind of just I'm going to expect to have an announcement at any point saying that, it's 2022 now, so yeah.
Chris, what about you, man? What's your outlook looking like here?
I'm kind of I in the same boat. At least the problem is that most of these films, if not all of them, are made here in the United States, or at least from production studios here, and we're just not handling this thing well. So, Hollywood is just kind of riding the back of COVID, and at the moment, especially in California, it's pretty crazy. I don't know. I would like to say that it's going to get better, but at this rate, it's not. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see more movies being pushed. Yeah, and I think that's the reason they're not announcing when certain movies are going to be coming out, because they're not sure themselves and they don't want to set themselves up for another disappointment. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, I'd like to be optimistic, and with the vaccine and everything, it's nice to be hopeful, but I don't know if you know this. In a survival situation, the most dangerous moment is right before you get rescued.
Oh, really? Because you let your guard down?
Exactly. And so now we have this vaccine, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's fine," and things are getting worse because nobody is taking it seriously anymore, because they're like, "Oh, it's we have a vaccine," and I don't know. It's hopefully we get our shit together. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, most car accidents. Yeah, most accidents happen a mile away from home, right? Most car accidents happen a mile away from home. So let's hope we can power through here. Henry and Matthew, let me ask you guys this too. A lot of these movies that I just listed are slated to come out almost directly to some sort of streaming platform, whether it be Disney Plus, whether it be HBO Max. We've talked about it a little bit here. How do you guys feel about these movies not coming to theaters anymore? Are you okay with it? Do you miss the theater experience? Did you never like the theater experience to begin with?
I think I'll unleash Henry on this one.
Oh God, run!
I think I've calmed down since my initial reaction, which was very much like a knee-jerk reaction of just like, oh, cinema's dying and cinema's going to be gone forever, and it's one of the things I love most in the world is going to be gone. And I think with a bit time away from the actual announcement of like all that stuff, I kind of have a moment of like just realizing that it's definitely for the best. Like there's no way it's not for the best. I hope though that it doesn't become the regular thing like post-COVID. Hopefully, like I hope that it's not just going to be, well, streaming worked for this 1 year, therefore it's going to be the best thing going forward, like forever. Right. And I totally understand that some films and even TV shows just work much better as, straight to streaming, straight to at home kind of stuff. But I'm definitely going to miss the cinema experience if they go down the road of just completely abandoning it, aside from a few big blockbusters. But yeah, I'm kind of sad but hopeful that it doesn't go down this road forever.
Well, no, there's certain movies you can't experience at home in the same way. I mean, can you imagine having watched like The Lord of the Rings on like a television at home? Like it's not the
No
same.
chance.
No matter how big your
no
television and all the surround sound you may have, seeing it on like a 10-foot screen, that's the way certain movies are made and developed for, and for the sound quality for the theaters and to feel the bass and all that. And I completely agree. I really hope this doesn't become the norm.
Yeah, I think.
I think that places like Netflix are going to have a very good year because they're the place that people are going to turn to, and it's just the hope that people don't decide that's definitely the way forward, because we all know that without being overly critical, studio execs haven't got they can't always be trusted with this sort of thing. They don't necessarily have the right instincts
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Hmm.
So you can imagine like Netflix doing well and them deciding they're going to put all their chips on that.
I think Netflix has come out and said they're expecting a new movie, a new Netflix original movie, at least every month in 2021. I think they said some months they're expecting a new movie every week.
Yeah, I
and
believe
if you've been on Netflix in the past few days, they've already dropped some new original content. It seems like Netflix in the past has done this where they'll get rid of something big. Like they'll take, for example, The Office. The Office is no longer on Netflix. That was a big show everywhere. But now all of a sudden they've refreshed it with 10 new movies or 5 new TV shows that are on there. Expect a big year from Netflix. Expect a lot of original content from them. And they're going to be firing away. So I listed a lot of movies there, obviously, and again, there's probably a few things here that I missed. If you guys want to do some research, viewers at home, listeners, go and check it out. But there's a lot of stuff slated for 2021. Kind of a short list that I have here. I've kind of broken it down, too, into what we can expect from, what Star Wars content are we getting, what Disney content are we getting, what things from Marvel. A short list for me, and this is just personal preference, of some of the bigger movies that I'm really looking forward to. No Time to Die, A Quiet Place Part 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Top Gun, Uncharted, Space Jam 2, Death on the Nile, and Dune to round it out. Those are, of all of those movies, and there's some great ones in there that I didn't probably mention, but those to me are some big films that I'm really, really looking forward to. Henry, Matthew, do you guys have any that stand out as films that even if some get pushed back, what are some that you really, really are hoping to see this year?
Sorry. Sorry. I was letting you
Okay, there you go.
Sorry.
I think for me, my most, I definitely want to see this in cinemas if I can. Opening day, midnight screening. Is The Matrix 4. I'm just so excited for that movie, and I think it's...
Yeah.
As someone who is a bit of a apologist for the sequels, I do genuinely like Reloaded and Revolutions. They're definitely movies that kind of... I wouldn't say they ever ruined the first movie, but definitely in terms of pop culture kind of minimized its impact, I think. People kind of go, oh, The Matrix and its sequels, instead of saying The Matrix trilogy.
Right.
So the fourth one is kind of a weird thing where it's coming from the original director, I think Lana Wachowski, not Lily for some reason. And it's being written by people that were either on board for the first...
So only one of them is involved?
Yeah, I think so. I think Lily
Interesting.
Yeah. I think because Lily might have retired from directing, I think.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I think Lily stepped back from Sense8, didn't she?
Yeah, halfway through.
For the second season, I think.
But yeah, and Matrix 4 is it's one of those big blockbuster kind of Christopher Nolan type of things where you're going to see a very exact experience where it's very much a Wachowski's movie. And I'm just so excited for whatever it is, because we saw, I think about a year ago now, we saw these leaked casting videos where people were doing a scene from the script where they're talking about how the Matrix exists inside the Matrix as a video game that people people now play in the Matrix, and it's a kind of another level of control over the humans, I guess. So just whatever it is, I'm just really excited for it.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome seeing Keanu Reeves with a shaved head again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say a lot of what you said, Daniel, is what I would have gone with. Very, very similar. One thing that I feel like nobody's really talked about is the Ghostbusters sequel.
That's right.
I've not seen hardly anyone mention it. I remember there was a little bit of a buzz when the trailer came out.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that...
And I think that's part of the problem is that the trailer came out, and we have a short series we do on our podcast every once in a while called Two to Review. We haven't done it in a little bit, but essentially we'll find a new trailer that comes out. We have 2 minutes. It's very strict. We've never gone over, not even by a second. We have 2 minutes to review. That's a joke. We regularly go to 7 or 8 minutes. We have 2 minutes to review the trailers, and we kind of talk about them. And it feels like we reviewed the trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife a long, long time ago. And I think this is a movie that's sort of gotten pushed back.
It was like the summer, I think.
At least, at least a little bit. And
I'm a little bit similar because I think I covered that trailer for a student newspaper.
Right.
Which
and it
feels
feels like forever ago.
Yeah,
it feels like forever ago. And then when these movies kind of get pushed back indefinitely, I do think that it hurts the excitement, the anticipation factor that there is for these movies. Yeah, I don't know. Ghostbusters Afterlife will be a good one. That's a loaded cast as well, and that's a sequel that I think will work. I think sometimes they make these sequels, like, for example, The Purge, where it's just, it's too much, it's unnecessary, it's a cash grab. I think Ghostbusters has the potential to be a genuinely good film. I think that they have enough story there. I think it's a lovable enough story, and I think it's been long enough that we could see a really, really good story told through the Ghostbusters.
Well, and it has like a Stranger Things vibe to it.
Definitely.
You know, and it has one of the actors, I think, obviously. So, but just the vibe that they're giving off with the trailer and everything, just kind of made it feel a little more modern, I guess, more edgy. I don't know. I'm not really sure what how to describe it, but it just looks like it could be very good.
It feels like a Force Awakens type of sequel, where it's like the same vibe but a different cast and like a different tone.
And you got to be careful calling it a Force Awakens sequel because there's a lot of people that won't go see it just because of that.
Gotta be careful about Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right. It's a touchy subject. What about you, Chris? What I know this is a big list, but of all the movies that we've kind of got slated for 2021, what's the one that's really on your Christmas list, man?
I am very excited for Uncharted. That is hands down my favorite video game. I think Naughty Dog makes some incredible stories, and to have somebody as talented as Tom Holland playing this iconic role, and I'm so excited for it. I actually have a quote from the video games on my board that we have for Critic and the Common Man. At the very bottom, it says, "I'm a man of fortune, and I must seek my fortune." And I look at that every day, and it's just I don't know. I love Uncharted. I have a very special place in my heart for those games, so I'm very excited for that.
He's got a tattoo on his lower back of a different quote from that game. It's not exactly G-rated, so we'll leave it to you guys to the Instagram.
You can subscribe to our OnlyFans to see that.
Right. Yeah. I think of all these films, even through the short list, if I had to pick one that I'm the most excited for me, it's actually Dune.
Yeah, that was my second choice.
Dune to me has the potential to be a mega blockbuster kind of film. Now, I think Dune is another movie where I would be really disappointed if we weren't given the opportunity at least to see it in the theaters. I think it's got a star-studded cast. I've read the book. Anybody who has read the Dune book, you know just how immense that world is and how in-depth the characters are. And if you haven't read the book Dune, I would implore you to do so before the movie comes out. It's a long read. It's definitely not going to be a weekend read, and it's pretty dense, but it is a damn good sci-fi story if that's your cup of tea, if that's your kind of thing. So I think for me, that's pretty much it.
You know,
we've got... Go ahead, Chris.
I'm also very excited for the Lord of the Rings show.
I don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think? I mean, Lord of the Rings is something that to me is better through a movie medium. Matthew, Henry, what do you guys think? Can they pull that off?
I was kind of like, haven't we done this already? Like when I heard the announcement of like, we've already made 3 pretty well-established icons of films. So why are we going back to make a TV show about it? But I am hopeful, I guess. Just confused.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, do you know, is the TV show supposed to be the same story that was already told through the 3 Lord of the Rings movies?
So the TV show is supposed to be the Second Age, which is it's during the time of like the reign of Morgoth. It's like in the Lord of the Rings movies, you'll see a lot of references to Numenor and the Numenorians, which is basically the island of Atlantis where the men lived, and it basically takes place during the time before that island was sunk by the gods, and about the people that lived there and how they were basically corrupted by Sauron, who was sent there by his master. So Sauron's master is kind of the main bad guy of this age, and it's it should be pretty cool because it's all about gods. It's not, it's no longer, like orcs and stuff. Like these are like divine beings that are at war with each other, trying to, kind of protect and destroy Middle Earth as it looked at the time. Like Gondor wasn't a thing yet during this. Gondor, Rohan, none of that existed yet. It was elves that took Middle Earth, fighting against Sauron and his master, and then you have men to the west in the sea. So it was just, I'm a huge nut for Lord of the Rings, and I've read the Silmarillion, so I'm so excited for this. I really hope it's good, because I think as a TV show, I think it has the potential to not be good. But if anything, HBO showed us with Game of Thrones that they're capable of creating some, some great show. It's just, they just have to follow through with the punch and not pull at the last season.
So 2021 is already off to a little bit of a interesting start here. So let's go ahead and say no spoilers, gentlemen. Matthew, Henry, I don't know if you guys have already seen WandaVision or have started watching the first 2 episodes. Again, no spoilers here, just kind of to get us onto the Disney topic here because it is big. They're starting out 2021 sort of with the first punch here with Marvel. I'm sorry, not with Marvel Vision, with WandaVision. A TV show. We're going to see a lot of TV shows, it sounds like, from Marvel this year. Yeah. And the movies that are coming out, we've got a Black Widow movie, which, to be totally honest with you, I could take it or leave it. That's not really one that's on my short list of movies I'm excited for. Yeah. Matthew, Henry, how do you guys feel about kind of what we have to expect from, let's say, Marvel here, without going into necessarily Disney? Are you familiar with the stuff that's supposed to be coming out, and how do you feel about it?
Oh, I've memorized it. It's one of the things that I'm pretty much looking forward to as well, and it's something that I feel I can be confident in saying that I can look forward to with the TV shows. Like, I can. Maybe I'm making the same mistake again, but I feel fairly confident that we are going to see Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki. I think we're supposed to get Miss Marvel towards the end of the year. But
Yes, we're supposed to get Miss Marvel too. I did see that. I think I forgot to put that on the list, but I did see that.
What do you think of 10 Rings?
I'm interested by it.
Yeah, I'm curious because they tried to do something with like a Netflix kind of thing. What was it? Iron Fist? And I feel like it just wasn't very good.
I totally agree.
And I'm really hoping that they can take this character that is kind of unknown by people and then make it something that kind of feels a part of the Marvel franchise.
I feel like if they approach that the same way they have approached WandaVision, I mean, we don't know what you think about it, but I'm pretty in love with how they've approached WandaVision, in that they feel really committed to the sitcom aspects. If they take that approach towards the kung fu and the martial arts aspects, I think we're in for something that could be quite impressive. But if they perhaps go down the cheap route, which I don't think they will, I think they are going to go for it. Like in the past or in recent memory, when they've gone for something like this, they have committed. With WandaVision being perhaps the greatest example.
Yeah, I think WandaVision kind of proves that going forward, Marvel are going to take some risks. Yeah. Definitely going to do some different things from just another Avengers movie. So I'm really interested in...
It's very different.
I have to say,
very different feel.
I love everything about WandaVision so far. I just have to say that. It's so charming.
Yes.
It's so charming, and just the jokes and everything.
Yeah, like it's generally like a good sitcom as well as a Marvel TV show.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's very different feel. How lucky, and I know Disney's obviously, they've got their own problems with the parks being shut down and things, but how lucky is Marvel in particular
wearing my Disney
to be at a
shirt.
time where they've, very nice, where they've already gotten some of their biggest releases ever out of the way prior to COVID hitting, and now here they are, poised and ready to go with a massive lineup of TV shows right as Disney Plus is getting huge. Expect for Marvel, not to get too businessy, but expect for the Disney share price to just go up and up. I think they're going to have an incredible year this year with the content they're putting out. They really, really lucked out. And of course, you can't plan this. Nobody planned COVID unless you're under the conspiracy theory that they did plan COVID.
It's the truth, Danny. It's the truth.
Yeah. That's a different podcast. But the fact that Marvel, in particular, is now here with all of these TV shows lined up to come out, I expect a big year from them. Do you guys think that do you think that it deludes the brand a little bit to have so many TV shows out? And this is kind of a conversation Chris and I had about Star Wars too. Do you think that it deludes the brand when all of a sudden you've got 10 TV shows going about these characters, or do you think it's okay and that they don't all have to be in movies?
I think Marvel are in a different. I feel like they're in a different situation to Star Wars. In that, I mean, we've talked about it on our podcast that the TV shows for Marvel present a great opportunity to flesh out characters that they haven't approached before.
Mm-hmm.
Characters like Wanda and Vision, Bucky and Sam, even Loki to some extent. You are getting something that fleshes out the universe, and there is space for it.
Yeah.
And you've also got quite a high volume of content from Marvel in the last 10 years.
That's right.
But with Star Wars, we sort of suffered a little bit with when around the time of Solo. Like, I'm pretty sure, I think it might have been Bob Iger said that he regrets putting that much stuff out and may have resulted in a bit of fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the thing with Star Wars is that with the movies we've been used to for like decades now, having the build-up of a new trilogy, sort of like, so the original trilogy ended, then it was like 30 years of just pure love and everything for that trilogy, and it led to like so much hype for the prequel trilogy, and the same thing kind of happened with the sequel trilogy, where it's just, you kind of, Star Wars feels like an event in a way, and I think making it into a year long of just constant TV shows is kind of, it's unusual for that franchise to be that kind of in the pop culture conversation for so long with constant new stuff coming out. So I think it's going to be like just a completely new era for Star Wars, and I think that's what's going to be a bit kind of odd to get used to, I guess.
You know, talking about Star Wars,
very true.
They've announced the new, as of this year, the High Republic, which sponsored by.
Oh, have you got the book?
Yeah,
you can see it right there. Wow.
And the quote on the back is the original Alec Guinness.
Dude, you were supposed to save that for our OnlyFans, Chris.
Third over 1,000 generations. So I haven't read it yet. I'm currently reading. I don't know why, but I'm reading the Solo story one. So I'm kind of it was on the book. It says that if you read the book and then watch Solo, it gives you an appreciation for the movie more. I think that just means that the movie wasn't very good. If they have to, I personally did like the movie though, so I'm not hating it. And the book so far is pretty good. But anyways, the whole point of that was that they've announced this new wave of Star Wars stuff that's coming out. With not just movies but books and comic books and video games that are all kind of based on like this old Star Wars history that we've never seen before, except in maybe some of the video games. Do you guys think that that's a smart move? Do you think that's going to kind of revitalize the Star Wars, and start like this new push forward?
I think that's probably the most exciting thing about Star Wars going forward, is this whole completely new era, because I feel like we've been stuck for a while in post Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope. Like, we keep on getting, well, what happened in between that era? And I'm like, I don't really care though. I kind of want to go either really far backwards or really far forwards.
Like, they've always focused on this like 40-year period. I'm so curious about what happened before.
Yeah, like I always wanted to see like the Jedi when they were actually the top of the game, like, or the and we haven't really seen that aside from kind of the prequels, which is kind of their downfall anyway. But yeah, I'm just so excited for new. Like,
I will do what I must.
Disney has a plethora of Star Wars content at their fingertips.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. With the extended universe and everything coming out, 2021. Not to kind of give a pessimistic look for the Star Wars fans out there. I don't know how big 2021 will be for Star Wars. I'm more anticipating that 2022 is going to be a huge year for Star Wars, and I say that because as of right now, the only real content and you guys can mistake me if I'm wrong here, if I'm missing something. It sounds like the only content that we're really slated to get as far as Star Wars in 2021 is going to be the Book of Boba Fett, which again I think is also late 2021. and then The Bad Batch. Now, as far as the Kenobi series and a potential Ahsoka series, I don't know if those are going to be seen in late 2021 or if these are things that are going to be pushed into 2022. I certainly wouldn't expect that we'd get any Star Wars movie this year. It doesn't sound like anything's in the works as far as I know. So I've got to imagine that 2021 will not be as big of a year as 2020 was with The Mandalorian, but I do think it will still prime us for a massive 2022. I know these dates are getting all jumbled up, but it will still prime us for a pretty massive 2022 for Star Wars.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
100%. I think 2022 is going to be the bigger year.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's talk.
Sorry.
No. Go right ahead.
Oh no. I wasn't important. You go on.
Everything you say.
Let's jump here to Disney really quick. We kind of already are there with Star Wars, of course, but just Disney specific. We've got a few things in the works here from Disney that
are you flexing because you're in Florida and your parks are open? Is that what you're doing right now?
Let's talk about Disney World and how I can go and nobody else can. I want to spend the next 15 minutes on that.
We've got a few country.
Yeah, we've got a few things in the works here that I think have potential to be pretty good. I don't know that we got anything massive coming from Disney this year. We'll see. Raya and the Last Dragon being kind of the biggest question mark for me. That we got a trailer for that already. It's another one where the trailer came out so ahead of the movie that I've almost kind of forgotten about it. We've got a Cruella story coming out. We've got Luca.
I didn't know that.
We've got Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise could be hit or miss. It looked a lot to me like kind of just a different spin on Jumanji, but we'll see. And I think that's it as far as I know right now. So Matthew, Henry, what do you guys think about the Disney movies coming out this year? Is it going to be a big year for them, a bad year for them? Where are you guys at on that?
I feel like with Disney, like their actual like animated remakes or whatever they're doing is always kind of I just wish they were doing anything else kind of thing. I'm really excited for Raya and the Last Dragon just because it looks different at least. It could be great.
True.
But even like their kind of like different takes on their classic films, like the Cruella movie, it's kind of just like. Yeah, but like,
why?
Do anything else?
Why?
Yeah.
We're with you. Oh, we're with you 100%. Yeah. It's okay.
These remakes.
They're panicking on these. Like, oh god, they're Disney fans.
Yeah. No. We are right there. The remakes have been brutal. For the last decade from Disney. Now the new content that they have put out, they've got some gems in the last 10 years. I mean, they've got Coke. Well, that's Pixar. Pixar's separate, but they've got Princess and the Frog. They've got Big Hero 6. Was that Pixar? I don't know. Disney has come out with some good stuff in the last 5 to 10 years.
Disney animated, but.
There we go. There is some good stuff there. We're with you, though. The animated remakes, I have a hard time getting excited about a Cruella de Vil movie. I even kind of had a hard time getting excited about a Jungle Cruise movie, to be honest, because I just don't see it being that great. But that's just a personal opinion. Chris, what do you think, man? Is it going to be a good year for Disney, or is it going to fall flat?
I think Disney as a company is going to probably recuperate some of the losses that they had last year. I think as like a production side, I think it will probably they're kind of banking on like specific movies to kind of make their money. And I think unfortunately they're whoever is behind their like production team keeps thinking that the remakes are the way to go. And I cannot say this enough. If you are listening, whoever is doing this, just stop, because nobody is excited about these. They're trying to play on like nostalgia to get viewers to come see these movies, but nobody our age cares about these movies. We would rather go watch the originals as a re-release or something. Like I'd rather watch the Lion King original in theaters than see the new one. Not that they're terrible. Some of them are. But I don't know. They're trying to play on the nostalgia and also create a new market, and it's just not working. I think that Disney has the chance to start something new. Not to bring this back and bring back flashbacks or anything, but like Frozen was something that they created something that became a pop culture phenomenon. I think they could do that again. Frozen 2, I personally thought was pretty cool. But then they go and do things like Pinocchio and I don't know. I'm so like it's so weird to me because they have such good, beautiful things that they create, especially with Pixar. Pixar is just always making some amazing films, but then they go and do other like polar opposite and release things like Mulan, and I don't know. I hope that Disney gets their shit together.
Yeah. And I feel bad for like the kids today that have these films coming out because in the future these aren't their films.
Back in my day,
I got a remake of my parents.
We had the Mulan remake and we liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that classic?
Yeah.
Do you remember paying 20 quid to watch it on Disney Plus?
Dude, we were livid when we sat down to do that review. I could not believe how bad that was. We'll wrap it up here with what I'm going to call the biggest question mark for 2021, and these are kind of the movies that you are really unsure whether they're going to be good or whether they're going to fall flat. And if you don't have one, that's perfectly fine. I didn't ask you guys to prep this or anything, but a movie that I think is probably the biggest question mark for 2021 that could be really, really good or could be really, really bad is this movie Free Guy. Have you guys heard of this at all?
Reynolds,
with I believe Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. I think.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailers for it, and I believe this is a Disney movie. I think, or I think it's. I think Disney has something to do with this.
Free Guy.
I think. Maybe somebody look that up
doing it
and
right
tell
now.
me if I'm right or wrong. I could be okay. I could be off the mark. I think it's under
Who's
the
to blame
Disney
for
veil.
this one?
Yeah, but it could be wrong.
Taika.
My production assistant.
Taika Waititi is involved on it.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
That's
This is a movie to me that it's got the cast, it's got all the right parts, it's a little bit different. I think it'll have a lot of views when it comes out. Whether that comes to again Disney Plus, I don't know where it's going.
oh, he's in it. Taika's in it, so he's not directing it or anything. It's 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
So
Oh, all right. Never mind. Sorry. I don't know where I got that. Anyway, when this comes out, this is the one to me that's the biggest question mark. Henry, Matthew, do you guys have any movies that you're excited for, but you're also you're ready to get your heart broken?
I think for me, I think Matthew definitely agrees that he's on edge about this.
I think I know what's coming. I think I know what's coming.
Is it the Venom / Morbius movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the Sony side of the Spider-Man universe for a long time now has been really up and down with kind of an alright reboot and kind of a terrible sequel to that reboot, and then Spider-Verse, which was amazing, and then
Right.
Venom, and then apparently Morbius. So it's one of those things where it's just like, what are you doing on all levels? Yeah, and
I'm with you. And it's Jared Leto, right?
yeah, doing the Morbius.
Yeah,
role.
everyone's favourite actor.
Yeah, right. Everybody's favorite. So there's a question mark in and of itself.
And the trailer itself was just so weird. It had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the background, kind of, but not really, and also had Michael Keaton's Vulture appearing out of nowhere, which implies that this movie's inside of the actual MCU, which is heartbreaking if it ends up being terrible.
yeah.
It feels like you know that it's a Home Alone meme where you have Kevin decorating the tree, like Kevin's Kevin Feige, he's decorating the tree, he's making it look lovely, and then you have Sony looking in, wanting to get in on the action.
Yeah. I love it. We'll see. That is you're right. That is a huge question mark movie for 2021. And again, we've knocked on wood. You've taken it with a grain of salt. We all know that, of course, some of these movies could be pushed back. But for the sake of the podcast and for the discussion, we're assuming that these things will be slated for their release this year. We've got a vaccine going around. Chris, what about you, man? Biggest question mark you think for 2021, assuming they actually get released? Do you have anything?
So I'm super excited for it, but I'm curious because in 1999, when The Matrix first came out, they did some amazing stuff. I remember watching it and going, "Holy shit!" And I was like 9 years old. The stuff that we make fun of, but people will watch The Matrix and say like, "Oh, the bullet time." It's gotten overplayed in video games and other movies and stuff. That's slow motion, but that was the first time anyone had ever seen it. That was mind-blowing, state-of-the-art stuff that made people physically sick. And people had never seen that before, and they didn't know how to process it, and it kind of set The Matrix up for being this groundbreaking science fiction series. I think I wouldn't put it past either of the Wachowski siblings to make some other, like to basically kind of step forward and do something else that's groundbreaking. And I hope that whatever it is that they choose to do, because they are the way they are and they're such strange individuals, that I think they are going to try and do something that is going to be different and unique. And I hope that it's still in line. I don't know. I feel like we as a society have kind of gotten jaded to, new things. And I really hope that whatever it is they bring in for this new Matrix movie is going to be just as good as it was when we watched the new stuff in the original, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful, and I'm really, really, I don't know. I think that the Matrix 4 has the potential of being something that's very disappointing, but I have the utmost faith in them that, or her, I guess I should say, that they're going to make something incredible.
Yeah. And then, of course, a big question mark, too, will be the Suicide Squad film. This is something that I think a lot of people are excited for. Love or hate the first one. That's another sort of hot movie that's going to be hopefully coming out this year. Really could go either way. I'm not sure what we'll see on that one, how much we're looking forward to it.
I'm going to say that's one of my top ones, I'd say, for next year.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that, especially after the footage we got from the Fandom.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, and everything they hinted at, I liked. I do think that, I don't know, I think that DC still runs into the problem when they try to do their version of the Avengers, which is not fair to say. I know that's kind of a dig, and it's not really fair. But when they pull other characters in, I just don't know if the DC characters, other than the main characters, Batman, Deadshot, even, Harley Quinn, I don't know if their characters are as likable as the MCU. I don't know if you can compare Thor and Iron Man and Hulk with Crocodile and
it's hard.
I don't even know.
It's hard to say that
King Croc,
because it's, I don't know, the DC universe started late. Like they've been making movies, and obviously we've got The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, and those were fantastic films. But as far as like the overall like larger universe, they came in after Marvel. And Marvel has 20 years of creating these stories, and DC, I think as a company, I would have done the same thing if I was the CEO. Jumped in to try and kind of get into that same bandwagon where like, well, Marvel's doing it, I'm sure we can, but they rushed it. And I think that's the problem. I think they tried to release too many movies and not enough character development, and I think that's where Disney and its writers has the edge up, because their writing team is just so much better.
Yeah. Also, they had they made a rather bizarre decision. Everyone has their opinions on Zack Snyder.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think that's an understatement. But I think it was an incredibly bizarre choice to have such a polarizing director helm your universe.
Let's have M. Night Shyamalan direct the next Batman movie.
Like they wanted they wanted to make a film to make everyone go, this is the franchise to come back to every year. But they got like the guy that made 300 and Watchmen to make that. It's just such a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's like it looks like who's done a film for us before? Was Watchmen DC? I think Watchmen was DC.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll stick with that.
That
worked.
Super
well,
stylized.
You guys, the silver lining, or a silver lining to the craziness that was 2020 and how horrible that year was, is that we do have a good 2021 slated here for movies. So if you are a movie lover at home, if you're watching or listening, let us know what you're excited about. Jump on the Instagram, either ours or the Marvelous Cinema Podcast. Jump on the Instagram, interact. Let us know what you guys are excited for. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, leave a comment down below. Let us know what are some movies you guys think are going to be great. What are some movies you guys are really not looking forward to? And are we going to get a lot of these films in 2021? We really appreciate it. So that's it, you guys. I mean, again, we've got a huge year slated for movies. All the stuff that was supposed to come out last year, we're really hoping is coming out this year. And all we can do now is kind of sit back, relax, and see what we get. We're off to a good start with WandaVision. We've got some other stuff in the works. But that's it, you guys. A 2021 outlook here with the Marvelous Cinema Podcast. Matthew, Henry, thank you guys so much for joining. We really appreciate the time. give a plug. Let the people know again where they can find you and what can we expect from the Marvelous Cinema podcast coming out this year, and what's going on with you guys.
Henry generally does our outros much better than I do.
Yeah, that's Danny. Yeah, I just nod my head. I'm like, yeah.
We're on Instagram at Marvelous Cinema Podcast, where we are doing, at the moment, we're doing Pixar in review. We're going through all the Pixar movies that we can and just doing our thoughts.
Nice.
Other than that, we're doing weekly podcasts. Any subject really. We only choose at the day of recording really. Twitter as well at Cinema Marvelous, doing the exact same thing over there really. 2021 for us is just keep on going, just doing the same thing, I guess. But yeah, we've had a great time being here. It's been really good.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. It's been brilliant.
We'll do this again. We will absolutely do this again. The Marvelous Cinema Podcast, everybody. The link will be in the description of this video and everything down below. We'll also post to them on Insta. Yep, right here. Boom. Through the power of editing, you're seeing it now. We love it. Thank you guys for joining us. Critic and the Common Man, we are out of here. We will see you guys on next week's episode. Marvelous Cinema Podcast and Critic and the Common Man. Peace. See you guys.